Hello everyone, and welcome live to 3 Wide TV, live from Homestead, Miami Speedway for tonight's broadcast of the National Sim Racing Association Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series. I'm Mitchell Adams. Joining me in the booth tonight is Garrett Gleason. Peter Short is producing here tonight, still under the weather, so wishing Peter a good recovery. But Garrett, a lot of action to expect here at Homestead Miami Speedway. These trucks have a lot of racetrack, a lot of different lines to work with here tonight. Should definitely put on a show for us here on 3 Wide TV.
Mitchell, we're definitely going to put on a show with these truck drivers out here at Homestead. This track has multiple grooves. Last night during the truck race, I pretty much knew what groove not to run because I was the slowest guy out there. But these drivers will utilize the high line. We'll see them utilize that middle line, and we'll see some bottom feeders out there tonight, I think, buddy. I can't wait to see what these drivers have in store for us when the green flag drops.
If these drivers out with just about 3 minutes left in practice here on this hot, slick Homestead Miami Speedway, you're looking at Stephen McDonald in the number 42 going around the track. This is the Bagcraft 200. Can't forget to mention that. Bagcraft sponsoring tonight's race here at Homestead, so make sure to go check them out. And thank you to Bagcraft for coming on board to sponsor the race. Looking at Randy Perdue, who had a good run last week at Daytona. Their strong race car for that number 25. Same for Doug Neal in the 77. A lot of these drivers coming off good runs at Daytona, but some of them looking for redemption after their race last week, as Daytona is very unpredictable racetrack here. We have about 2 minutes left in practice. You see Doug Neal working the high line. Matt Cherry in the number 5 getting a little loose behind him, but there you see the number 5 down in the infield. We'll take a look though at your point standings coming into this race. Martin Plute there is your points leader coming into race number 2. He won last week at Daytona. He's got a 10-point lead over Travis White, and you can see the rest of the drivers there. The top 10 make the chase later in the season. So Travis White, Nick Kessler, Justin White, Philip Scott, Steve McDonald, Doug Neal, Mike Tellier, Doug Buell, and Jason Gracias all chasing down Martin Plute for the lead, but a couple of strong drivers there looking in outside that bubble, Garrett. But there is a long way to go, but you can't forget about the points this early in the season.
You can't forget about the points, Mitchell. That's absolutely correct. And we can't forget that I wrecked a bunch of trucks last week and hurt these guys as far as points go. So I'm not in the field this week. These guys will have every opportunity to make up their own destiny tonight. It's not pack race. It's not going to be pack racing like we saw at Daytona. I mean, these guys will be close together, but it's a whole different element out there. This is a racetrack. You have to race it like a race car driver. Hit your marks, be smooth out there, don't burn your tires off, and be there at the end.
Yes, this definitely is a driver's track, a very difficult 1.5 mile racetrack here, and we saw last night in the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series here in the NSRA. They were running very close together, Garrett. I know you were in that race. We saw the pack not get too spread out. They ran side by side quite a bit, so I expect similar action here tonight from the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast truck drivers, as practice just about wrapping up here on board with the 30 of Julian Tesoro. You can see him working the wheel there coming out of turn 2. You'll see a lot of that here tonight, especially as the tires start to wear away. Homestead, very difficult to manage the tires on. It's, in my opinion, one of the more difficult 1.5 mile racetracks to manage tires, so we're going to see the tire strategy game get played all night long here, as checkered flag out on practice here for the Bagcraft 200 at Homestead Miami Speedway, and we're going to roll right over into qualifying here in just a second, Garrett.
So Mitchell, you've been a lot more successful in your short racing career than I have in my long one. A place like Homestead, is it important to start up front here, or you think if you start in the back you still could make some headway?
I think that, well, I personally always like to start up front, and that's usually a safe strategy because it's easier to avoid chaos and wrecks, even off the speedways at a track like Homestead Miami. Of course, I've been involved in my fair share of wrecks up toward the front of the pack here specifically, so there is no safe, sure bet of a place to be, but it's always nice to start out front knowing you have a fast truck underneath you here in these races, and you're looking at a 34 truck field, I believe, here tonight. So I definitely want to be up toward the front because that is a lot of trucks I'm going to have to pass if I am not at the very front of the pack. And we'll see who will be able to put their truck up at the front of the pack as drivers just getting on their first laps of qualifying here. You're looking at the one of Jason Gracias, the defending series champion in that MaxGrafix #1 machine, out for his first lap of qualifying. Right now you see him working down the back straightaway. Nobody with a time in quite yet, but we'll start to see those come in all at once here in just a moment. We're looking at the other MaxGrafix machine of Chris Darling in the #11, who had a strong run last night in the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series here. Finished third. Jason Gracias, we were just looking at, finished second. So both those drivers going to be strong contenders here tonight. Though the 15 of Jeffrey Clifton was fastest in practice, I do believe, but not currently in qualifying. Jason Gracias right now sits up at the top of the chart by about a 1/10 of a second.
Mitchell, when Peter and I did broadcast last season, it seemed like Jason Gracias just liked to start in the rear and work his way through the field. This season, he's not messing around. He wants to start up front and finish up front, and he's been dominant lately. No matter what league we've been broadcasting, he's been there at the end. And even last night, Mitchell, you alluded to him finishing second. He was on the bumper of the leader, and if he wasn't such a nice guy, he may have been able to move him if he would have liked. But Chris Darling and he had a heck of a battle for second place, but it definitely could have been for first place if Gracias was a little more aggressive there.
Yes, that is the case, and Gracias comes into tonight 9th in points, so did still have a strong run last week at Daytona, but definitely going to be a driver to keep our eye on here as we get into the race. Looking out on track still, this is the #20 machine that is driven by Patrick Morrison. Patrick outside that playoff cut bubble we were looking at right before we went into qualifying. He is currently 11th in points. Of course, again, those drivers have a lot of races before they have to really start worrying about points, but this is the critical part of the season to start setting yourself up for later with a good points barrier. And Jason Gracias still sits at the top of the chart at the moment. A couple other drivers are out on track, though. That's the 25 of Randy Perdue, the 34 machine here piloted by Garrett Austin. Struggled last week at Daytona, Garrett. He's going to be one of those drivers looking to rebound here this week at Homestead.
It's time to maximize your points, Mitchell. I know it's only race 2, but it's never too early to think about points. And if you had a bad Daytona, your goal tonight needs to be, I want to finish on the lead lap. I want to complete all the laps. And if I have something for these guys, I need to take every opportunity to pass as many trucks as possible out there. And you have to start right now, because if you put yourself in that points hole, you might have to gain 5 points a week, 3 points a week, just to get back on an even playing field with these guys ahead of you in the standings.
Yeah, it's definitely something that is going to be on the mind of a lot of these drivers. We'll see what kind of time the 34 machine can put down here. 26th on the speed chart there, so not the qualifying run Austin probably would have hoped for, but he has 134 laps in this Bagcraft 200 to work his way up further toward the front. Here is another strong race car we're looking at on track right now. Out for qualifying, the number 88 machine. This is driven by Nick Kessler, another driver. Strong run at Daytona last week, if memory serves me right. Yes, he did. Nick Kessler, I believe, finished top 3, third, I believe. So Kessler coming into Homestead with some momentum on his side. We'll see what kind of time he puts down. He puts down a very good one here, Garrett. Knocks Jason Gracias off the top of the chart by 1/1000th of a second in that Taz Racing Customs machine.
Wow, Mitchell, last second drama. 88 sneaking the pole away from Jason Gracias by 1/1000th of a second. And wow, we'll see if he can take advantage of that excellent starting position and fantastic lap he put down.
It definitely setting himself up great. I'm sure Jason Gracias is just rolling around, hating to get beat out in the last couple of seconds of qualifying. Nick Kessler snuck that fast lap in, and he is going to take your pole here tonight in the Bagcraft 200, but we will go through your starting lineup here before the field gets rolling On pole is that number 88 of Nick Kessler. To his outside is the 1 of Jason Gracias, and you see your starting order up on the screen. Starting third is the number 11 of Chris Darling. To his outside, Tristan Maurer. Then it's Jeffrey Clifton starting fifth, Nate Maurer sixth, Martin Plute starts 7th, Randy Purdue will start 8th, and rounding out the top 10 are Stephen McDonald in 9th and Adam Lichty in 10th.
Matt Cherry will roll off 11th in the Stay Tuned Sports Machine. Doug Milner to his outside in the number 6. Stan Hausmann, decent starting spot in the 39, will roll off 13th. Jeff Price to his outside starting 14th in the 14. David Buell will start 15th. Jeremy Richmond will start 16th in the 98 machine. Philip Scott, a bad qualifying effort for him. I expect him to be a little further up the front and get racy here early on. Julian Tesoro will start 18th. Adam Newton and Ben Mashburn round out your top 20.
Yep, then it's Justin White in 21st, Josh Sobel 22nd, Adam Dama rolls off from 23rd, Vincent Valvano back this week starts 24th, then it's Doug Neal, Travis White, Gerald Baker, Garrett Austin, Patrick Morrison rounds out your drivers who took time in qualifying, starting in the 29th position, then Scott Tompkins, Dalton Hayes, Joseph Misch, Mikey Williams, Jason Shue, and Jim Casterline, Jimbo, and the Stay Tuned Sports Machine will round out your 35 truck field here tonight. Garrett, that is a full pit road, full field of trucks. It's going to be very difficult to get home this win tonight. So I'm looking forward to seeing which of these drivers is going to be able to figure out this track the best.
It's going to be anyone's race, Mitchell. It's going to take us some laps to figure this thing out, but I'm glad you didn't let me read those last couple names because Dalton Hayes, after last week, is not a big fan of mine, and I think just my name, his name coming out of my mouth, he would have been offended, so I appreciate you picking that up. And Jimbo, starting last, I have nothing nice to say about him. I just hope he doesn't embarrass himself like he and I did last week at Daytona.
I'm sure both those drivers looking to put down a good run here, Jimbo. The only way Jimbo can go from here, Garrett, is forward, so we'll keep an eye on him here throughout the race. 134 laps of Homestead Miami Speedway, 200 miles here in the Bagcraft 200, and 35 drivers all hungry for that race win. You see on your screen the track temp is 103 degrees. That is a hot, slick track these drivers are going to be dealing with here today. It should be fun for us to watch up here in the booth as the pace car pulls down onto pit road. Nick Kessler in the number 88 going to lead the field to the green flag. Flagman waving the green flag, and we are racing here at the Homestead Miami Speedway.
All right, boys, let's get through these first couple turns. Let's get some heat in these tires and don't take a wood bunch of trucks out here early on. So we've seen it happen before here on Freeway TV. Let's hope tonight that's not the case.
As the field works their way out of turns 1 and 2, they look clean so far. A lot of 3-wide racing, 2 and 3 wide through the pack, but it's Jason Gracias who grabs the lead from Nick Kessler on the outside lane. So the one prevails as they come to complete lap 1. Jason Gracias, your new race leader over Nick Kessler. And then behind them, it is the 17 of Tristan Maurer, but caution out on the racetrack. You see that wreck on your screen here. Early caution coming to complete lap 1, and we are going to get a replay of that one here on 3-wide TV. Trying to see who that is. Racing around the number 2 of Justin White. Slides up, almost catches Dalton Hayes there. The 23, I believe, involved as well. Couple, I believe, 3 or 4 drivers taken out here on the opening lap. That was Adam Dama.
That was crazy, Mitchell. That truck looked like he was turning it towards the inside, and it just snapped right back around on him as we take another look here. And nowhere to go. Couldn't miss that one even if he had some wings on that truck to fly, because it was too little too late to make a move there.
Yep, just absolutely nowhere to go. Wrong place, wrong time in that incident. And unfortunately, that puts us under caution. Number 1 here tonight. Looking on board shot here. This will be a good view. You see those cars wrecking up in front. Slides past one in the smoke. Can't see the other. A little contact, but that doesn't look too bad, Garrett, for the driver of that truck, whose number I also didn't make out there. But that one Gonna take out a couple drivers, but hopefully they all get those trucks repaired on board here with somebody else. Out of turn 4, the truck's wrecking up in front of him, takes the low lane, just misjudged the wreck. And unfortunately, the 187 car driven by Joseph Misch, a ton of damage on that truck. He is down pit road right now taking repairs.
You know, Mitchell, don't feel the need to apologize. It is our producer's job to let you know what in-car camera he's giving you. And when you work with a professional like I do, Carlos, on Tuesdays, he'll tell you what replay he's showing you, so you don't have to make things up. So hopefully our amateur producer will get this better as the race goes on.
I'm getting word from our producer, Peter Short, that Garrett is now fired. So, Garrett, you picked a fight with Peter too early on in the race under caution. I'm very sorry to hear that for you.
Well, it's not the first time I've gotten fired within the last 2 years, and it probably won't be the last, so I'm in good company.
Well, certainly we will continue going, and I think, Garrett, you will continue to broadcast the race with me. Of course, we're just having fun with you all up here in the 3-wide TV booth. Looking out on track, though, while we were looking at all those replays. Well, maybe not. We're looking at another replay of the start of the race, I believe, here. Yes, it is.
Rossi just feed him to the line, I think, is what we're looking at, Mitchell. Is that what the claim is here?
Well, we're looking at the 88 of Nick Kessler here. Down the back straightaway. He gets off to the race lead sideways, though, out of turn 2. Peter knew what he was doing there, Garrett.
It's about time.
What cost Nick Kessler the race lead there. A little loose out of turn 2, and that's something I expect to see a lot more of here before the checkered flag flies here, Garrett. Trucks are pacing around here. This is our live shot back on track here. We're done looking at all the replays here. A lot to digest there on the start, Garrett. Pace truck lights are still on, so we have at least one more pace lap. But right now it's going to be Jason Gracias, but maybe Nick Kessler will be able to prevail off the high line. We'll see if Gracias has the same troubles that Kessler did getting out of turn 2 there on the inside lanes. It's still too early on to quite see which lane is going to prevail here in the early going.
Yeah, Mitchell, I don't have a clue what lane is the fast way around at this point, and those laps I ran last night didn't help me either, but these, like you said, these leaders have swapped positions. Now Kessler saw what Gracias did from that outside groove. We're going to see if he could capitalize, because as the pole sitter, you have to be a bit frustrated at this point. You sat on the pole and you didn't get to lead that first lap, and it's going to eat at you a little bit, even for an experienced racer. So we'll see if he could redeem himself on this next restart. It looks like the lights are finally off on the pace car.
Yep, iRacing pace car lights are off here, so next time by we will restart this race, and it will be lap 7 here of 134 in the Bagcraft 200. Still a lot of trucks you see in the field here. I believe Adam Dama still in the pits, as well as Joseph Misch, Travis White. So we still have 31 trucks out there on the lead lap for the time being, and hopefully those 3 will get those trucks repaired. But heavy damage for all 3 of them because of that incident, so we will just have to wait and see on that one. But looking up front, it is Jason Gracias and Nick Kessler in the front row. Then it is the 17 of Tristan Thuggy Maurer in that Eclipse Photography machine, with Chris Darling in his outside here. Coming to the restart. Out in the chat, we are wishing Jimbo a happy birthday here, I believe, today, Garrett, is what I'm seeing.
I think it says the 25th, but I mean, once you get to the age Jimbo's at, 65, you really should stop counting your birthdays and just count your blessings that you're still on this earth.
Well, that's a happy birthday from Garrett, I guess you could call it. And a happy birthday from me to Jimbo, our sponsor, Stay Tuned Sports. Here, wishing him a good day. Hopefully he can have a good race here on his birthday. Currently just cracked the top 30, didn't have much time to do it. Jimbo restarted in the 30th position. Up front, though, clean start for Jason Gracias as we watch the field work their way through turns 3 and 4. Coming to complete lap 1. Looks clean here. We are going to continue racing green flag, so hopefully we get a little bit more of a run from this start, but Nick Kessler once again struggling on the restart. Garrett goes from second to third. He got passed by the 17 of Tristan Maurer.
I just wonder if Kessler's feeling that truck out, Mitchell. Sometimes, if you've had that bad experience on lap 1 there, he might just be taking it easy. And as we've noticed, these trucks were kind of peaking for some clean air to the nose as they were staggered, the front 3. Something he might also be checking out, see how his truck handles in dirty air. There's no need to rush it here, especially if you're uncomfortable. Take care of your stuff and be there at the end. That's the name of the game with a race as long as this one is in the Bagcraft 200.
There is a lot to be said, especially at a tire track like Homestead, Miami, to taking it early, feeling out the truck, and saving those tires for later in the run, which could very well be the strategy of that 88 of Nick Kessler. But good side-by-side racing here, back further in the pack. You see it on your screen, battling for 15th. Here, I believe 14th also is the 42 machine of Stephen McDonald, side by side with Jeff Price up there for the 14th position. These two trucks here as well, good side by side racing between the 4 of Ben Mashburn and the 30 of Julian Tesoro. Down the back straightaway, Jeff Price gets a little bit loose in the same spot, Garrett. Maybe turn 2 is a little bit of a struggle section for some of these trucks right now.
It certainly looks like it, and it's definitely something we're going to need to keep an eye on, especially on restarts after guys make pit stops. Have some cold tires on there. Could become a problem. So I just want to say, I see Jeff Price running. It's nice to see his truck not blinking and him getting that internet fixed. Should be a lot more stable than we've seen him in the weeks prior.
Yep, we will see Jeff Price starting to work his way up through the field. Started 14th, still running 14th, and we were on board with the 30 of Julian Tesoro just a moment ago. You kind of saw the wheel work he was having to do inside that race car. Another battle here on track, brewing between the number 98 of Jeremy Richmond and someone else. We already cut away from it before I did that, because there is another battle ensuing here on the racetrack down the front straightaway. This is the battle for the 5th position between the 8 of Martin Plute, last week's race winner at Daytona, battling with the 15 of Jeffrey Clifton for the 5th position. These two fighting it out for the top 5, and both of them want to go challenge the 11 of Chris Darling for the 2nd position. A little bit of a gap has separated your 3rd and 4th place drivers. Nick Kessler up there challenging Tristan Maurer for the 2nd position. You see it on the left-hand corner of your screen. A lot of battling here early on, Garrett. These drivers very close. You see a lot of side-by-side, bumper-to-bumper racing, and that might not change for a while here.
Yeah, these drivers, usually drivers, Mitchell, they ask for a racetrack with multiple grooves, and a lot of racers like it hot and slick out there. They feel like they could just make some crazy moves, as we see the 6 in the Folgers machine having some trouble there, but getting it corrected. And that's what Homestead is providing. These guys pretty much feel like they could do anything out there right now, and you're seeing it with how racy they're getting with each other. As we're looking at another battle here between the 34, was that the 12?
Yeah, the 34 of Garrett Austin here fighting with the 12 of Gerald Baker. This one for the 26th position on track at the moment. The 12 has a little bit of a crinkle in his rear bumper, so might have been some contact somewhere in the opening stages of this race for Gerald Baker. Here's another battle going on, though, with the Simbox machine, the number 52 of David Buell fighting with Justin White there in the number 2, and the 6 of Doug Milliner in that Folgers machine. I really like that Folgers paint scheme that Doug Neal is sporting here tonight. A little further back, you see the 3 of Jason Shue getting some pressure put on him by, I believe, the 32 of Mikey Williams. Yes, it is. That's Mikey Williams in that 32 machine. Kind of hard to see the number. Oh, it's on the rear bumper. That's what I'm getting word of. So nice paint scheme, a little bit unique there for the 32. Battling. Oh, excuse me, Garrett. Go ahead.
You know, he's not doing us any favors up here in the booth, which put his number on his tailgate, because not all the time are we going to have that camera on him. But looks like a little battle here, and you can still have fun in the back of the field. I would know. I've spent 99% of my career back there.
Well, some of the best racing happens toward the back of the field, which is what we saw quite a few battles going on there at the moment. But a little further up in the field, Stan Hausmann in the number 39 running 10th. He has side-by-side Adam Newton and Randy Perdue right behind him there fighting for the 11th position. Newton going to take it for the time being, but Hausmann making the move up underneath of, I believe that's actually, they're working around a lap car there on track. That is the case. That is, I believe, Adam Dama in the number 28. So good to see the 28 of Dama back out on track, but unfortunately a ton of damage on that race car, and you see how far off the pace he is. 10 laps down in the early going. He is the first car 1 lap down, though. It doesn't really mean a whole lot for him, probably from 10 laps down, super damaged, but currently, if we were to get a caution, he is eligible for that Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award, so maybe Dama can get it back up a little further, but I have to imagine his night probably not going to be going much better than we see right now.
Yeah, Mitchell, he's hoping for attrition, or he's hoping for 10 yellows in a row. Saw Noah Gregson last week in real life racing get a bunch of his laps back. I think he was like 6 down at one point. He came pretty close to getting back in the lead lap. So I'm sure Dama would take that, but now he's just out there maybe learning for the next time he comes here, making some laps and hoping for the best, and for this race to maybe even go green so it gets over quicker.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see again. Nick Kessler, you're seeing him in the number 88. He worked back past Tristan Maurer in that number 17. Now trying to chase down your race leader, Jason Gracias. That gap is about half a second right now in between that MaxGrafix number 1 machine and the Taz Racing Customs number 88 machine. These two going to be putting on a pretty good show. You see the lap times down there in the last 5 laps. Gracias has only pulled away once. Nick Kessler doing a really good job cutting away at that gap, and we'll have to wait and see. Garrett, do you think Jason Gracias is just using that gap to save a little bit of tire, or do you think that that 88 is starting to show a little more long run pace as we come to lap 21?
I really like what I'm seeing out of the 88 here, but as someone who's raced with Jason Gracias since I was a teenager, there is hardly anyone in the racing world that saves tires as well as Jason Gracias does. He's actually unbelievable at it, and it's one of those things that's made him so successful over the years. So if Gracias thinks this race is going to go green, I could see him saving something. But Kessler's doing a good job catching them now. As we're taking a look at Philip Scott, who I believe he started about 17th. Oh, look at, there's a graphic there. Our producer's finally woke up from his nap. Started 17th, up to 8th position. This is a track that suits Philip Scott's driving style. He will make a move anywhere at any time, and he learned a lot about tire management last night. I know he wore the tires off a little early in the run last night, and he realized he couldn't do that, and I'm sure he's putting those lessons to good use tonight.
Yep, Philip trying to make pass on Adam Lichty for the 7th position, and there is a lot to be said for experience. Like you said, Philip Scott ran last night in the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series, which also raced here. Get some good laps, about 80 laps was that race, so good practice coming into tonight. Different car, different time of day. That race ran at night and runs in the Xfinity car, but still, there's nothing beats experience on a racetrack. You can be as good and as talented as you want, but laps on a racetrack are the biggest thing that helps drivers get fast, and we see that working for Philip Scott as he's chopping his way up through the field, but he's not the only driver trying to do that. You see the 5 of Matt Cherry just worked around the 51 of Adam Lichty for the 8th place, so Adam Lichty dropped a handful of spots here in the last couple of laps. Right behind them is the Beer Street Journal machine of Stan Hausmann trying to find a way around Adam Newton for the 10th place position. These two have been going at it for a while. We were watching. There goes Adam Lichty as well. Thought about looking under Cherry for that 8th place position, but decides to stay behind the Stay Tuned Sports machine, at least for the time being.
Mitchell, everywhere we look, it seems like a battle for each position out there, and that's just fantastic. And it's so hard to, you get under a guy here and you might not be able to complete the pass, and it gets so frustrating. But my question back to you as someone who's obviously more successful than me, if you take 2 trucks and 2 drivers of similar skill level, one of them decides to run the high line, one of them decides to run the low line, who's going to wear their tires off quicker for our audience out there?
Ooh, that is a difficult question because sometimes it varies track to track. From my personal experience driving here at Homestead, I personally favor the inside lane, and I think that's what I heard drivers saying after last night's Beer Street Journal Grand National Series, is they felt like the high line just kind of got the tires a little hotter, wore them out a little more. But late in the run, it's kind of advisable. Sometimes you can start the run at the bottom, move up later. It really changes as the track changes through the race. So it's a little bit difficult to say, Garrett, and we'll have to see what these drivers decide to do because they're the ones who know what they're talking about. I just sit up here in the broadcast booth anymore. But good battle for 17th. Jeremy Richmond has it right now. Also, the battle for 21st, you're looking at here a lot of drivers right here. Justin White and Vincent Valvano have been going at it for that 21st position. Then there's a train of cars right up in front of them. Any one of them could make the move. I believe they're chasing the 971 of Nate Maurer. No, that's the 3 of Jason Shu, who leads that pack currently. But side by side, there goes Justin White underneath of that number 64 machine. White trying to take the position away out of the corners. We see the field race by. He will, so Justin White moves into 21st. But all these drivers back here continue to battle, continue to put on a show for us.
I just wanted to give a shout out to Vincent Valvano making it back this week. He's had a lot going on in his life. Certainly our best wishes are with he and his family, and nothing like some racing therapy to get your mind off things. And I'm sure even if Vinny finished last night, it's just good to be back out there with your brothers and having a good time. But you're right, these drivers are going crazy at the back of the field. They want to go. They want to. If somebody seems like they're holding them up, I need to pass that guy, and I need to pass him now. So that's what we see going on as we're moving back towards the front of the field. We have a battle between Tristan in the 17 and Chris Darling in the 11.
Yep, this is the battle for the 3rd position between Tristan Maurer and Chris Darling. Both of them sporting series sponsors on that their trucks, Eclipse Photography and MaxGrafix. So good to see sponsor trucks running up toward the front of the pack. Same can be said actually for the top 4, all sporting series sponsors on their trucks. As you see Chris Darling trying to work underneath, right behind him, right off screen. Saw the 15 of Jeffrey Clifton dive way down, almost below the white line as they exited turn 2. He's back on track fighting with Philip Scott. That was almost a moment back there. It's Chris Darling trying to close it up. I think the 17, well, I thought he had a run from that angle, but looks like Chris was able to keep the momentum up, and he will take away the 3rd position from Tristan Maurer this lap. So Chris Darling trying to march up through the field. The gap between Nick Kessler and Jason Gracias up front has stayed about the same as it was the last time we checked on him. And here you are looking at that battle for the 5th position, or excuse me, the 6th position, which is held currently by the 99. But Matt Cherry looking underneath the 15 of Jeffrey Clifton. Matt Cherry on a little bit of a charge up through the field, Garrett. He's passed quite a few trucks in the last 10 or so laps here. So Matt Cherry, strong truck under him tonight. Started 11th, looking to take away the 7th position. But do want to highlight Philip Scott again. Started 17th up to 6th, so plus 11 positions in 31 laps for the 99 of Scott.
They should call this the 3Y TV action cam, because if you have a camera on Philip Scott and Matt Cherry, something exciting is going to happen. Philip is always making moves. Matt Cherry is always sideways no matter where we're at, and for some reason they just keep on moving forward. Not a surprise to see these guys solidly in the top 10 here, only 30 laps into the run.
Yeah, both of them doing a very good job running bumper to bumper, which is the same thing Adam Newton and Jeffrey Clifton were doing it, but Newton with a big lunge into turn 1 made it stick. Adam Newton right to the bumper of Matt Cherry as they work their way down the back straightaway, looking off the back of Matt Cherry in that Stay Tuned Sports Podcast number 5 machine. Back at the Budweiser 29 of Adam Newton. These drivers running in a single file line here for the most part around this track. And Garrett, I know you ran last night here at Homestead Miami Speedway in the NSRA. How important was that draft? That's something I don't think we've hit on quite yet.
Well, Mitchell, I wasn't close enough to anyone else last night to be able to draft with them, but for the most part, these guys stayed in the pack and they were able to use the draft to make some moves out there. But you also need to keep your nose clean and get some air to it, because dirty air gets you bogged down and you can't make the moves you want. So there's a balance, I think, Mitchell, and I think that's from from my experience last night, you need to be able to use the draft on the straightaway, but you don't want to go into the corner tucked up behind someone because it's not going to help you at all handling wise.
Well, speaking of trying to make moves, Matt Cherry tried to get around Philip Scott. Philip trying to fight back on the inside, and we also saw the 29 of Adam Newton dive up the inside of the 99. He has a run here, shooting up the inside again. There goes Adam Newton trying to make the inside work over Philip Scott, but the outside lane holding strong. It seems like we'll see down the front straightaway if Philip can carry the momentum. Looks like he is able to, but Newton using that side draft, staying to the inside of the 99. So these two continue to battle on for the 7th position on track. And watch the 15 of Jeffrey Clifton. He might try and take advantage of this side-by-side racing to get up there and fight with these two for position. On board now with that 15, looking at this side-by-side battle. Thought the 29 would get clear up the inside. Philip trying to fight back, got a little up the track as well, but Philip Scott doing a good job hanging in there, and this really shows how good Homestead is for multi-groove racing. Neither one of these drivers getting an advantage by having a preferred lane. They've been side-by-side for multiple laps now as the 29 of Newton finally able to prevail and clear Philip Scott.
Mitchell, knowing Philip as well as I do, that bothers him that he just got passed there by 2 trucks. Even though he's gained so many spots, that's going to eat at him, and he's going to try to get those spots back. And as he gains experience, I hope he will learn that maybe just get in line, save your stuff, and live to fight another day. As we watch Ben Mashburn running the Kyle Larson lane around the track, it seems.
Yeah, Ben Mashburn starting to venture up there. Haven't really seen anybody up until this point run that absolute high line. I think he has a little more left to go up there. I wouldn't call it completely Kyle Larson, but Ben Mashburn putting it about as close as you can to that outside wall. Jeremy Richmond behind him also doing the same thing, running that higher lane with Ben Mashburn. Here's a look at the 15 of Clifton getting fight now from the AlphaTauri machine of Stephen McDonald in the 42. I'm still getting used to seeing AlphaTauri in the NSRA. It feels weird to see that not on a Formula One car.
Oh, NSRA, that's where the big boys come to play. We have sponsors, crazy sponsors all over the place. We have league sponsors in the top how many positions. We have F1 sponsors, Budweiser's out here. I mean, Mitchell, who are we? Like, can't we get, like, maybe some broadcast sponsors? Like, could we get some polos with some fancy logos or something on it? That'd be nice.
I think that was more of a message to our producer, Peter Short, who I'm sure is listening in and loving Garrett talking out here on the broadcast. Meanwhile, pit stops, have started here at Homestead Miami Speedway. I believe the 17 of Tristan Maurer, one of those drivers who came down pit road. Also the 88, I believe, of Kessler. Yes, it is. Those two pit from 2nd and 4th positions, respectively, I believe. So green flag pit stops maybe going to be starting here. We see the top 2 continue to stay out as we approach lap 40. If you can stretch it a little farther, you might be able to turn this into a 3-stop race. We'll have to see if the drivers have that amount of fuel mileage in their tanks here. It'd be awfully close, but could be doable here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. If my mental math serves me right, I think they'd have to make it to about lap 44, 45 if they wanted to do that. So we will have to wait and see as they continue to stay out. No one else, as far as I've been able to see, down pit road. So early stops from the 17 and 88 here.
Yeah, those trucks, they might have used up their stuff, come in, get some tires, and just hope the strategy's going to play your way. But you're right, if they stop at 45, they stop again at 90, that should get them to the end. So if you're Jason Gracias, you have a comfortable lead here. If you could get to that point, you're definitely going to try it. But we'll see if these MaxGrafix trucks dive to pit road this time. It doesn't look like it. So another lap, and we'll see if they could get closer to that 45 window.
Yeah, I think that has to be the goal for these drivers staying out. I don't imagine they would stay out and let the 17 and 88 get that kind of tire advantage, because fresh tires, couple seconds a lap advantage. So I have to imagine they're playing the fuel game, staying out. Side by side, Adam Lichty, Julian Tesoro for the 10th position. Even though we're getting closer to pit stops, these drivers still as racy as they have been all race long. You see the 30 fighting on the outside lane, the 51 of Lichty, who's been involved in quite a few battles we've watched here in this first fuel run of the race, trying to give him the fight on the inside. But it seems to me, Garrett, at least looking at it from above, that the outside lane seems to be getting a little bit better as the tires are wearing here.
Yeah, absolutely right, Mitchell. It seems like the groove is working its way up, especially on these older worn tires. But we'll see. I mean, if the sun goes down a little bit, the track cools off, you never know what might happen. So you're just constantly learning out there. You're adjusting your points. Maybe you're adjusting your brake bias a little bit. And you're going to get these fresh tires on here in a matter of laps. And then you might have to learn how to drive the track all over again to an extent, because you'll be able to go in deeper and whatnot. And especially when the tires are cold, you don't want to spin out there. So some people will be taking it easy, and that's when maybe some chaos could happen.
Speaking from experience, it is very easy to spin out on cold tires. When you come to a track that's really rough on tires, the difference in grip, and it really gets a lot looser when you have fresh tires on the car. It is a lot easier to spin out, and it takes a couple laps to get used to, especially on a hot, slick track like this. So hopefully drivers can keep those trucks going straight, as we are 3 wide through turns 3 and 4, battling for the 11th position. Josh Sobel, Adam Lichty, Justin White, and I believe the 971 of Nate Maurer also right there with these drivers, if I'm reading that correct. He is on fresh tires. That is why he's pulling away so fast. You see him already up there passing, I believe, the 30 of Tesoro as these drivers battle. But as we hit lap 45, we will see if the leaders come in pit road this time by, I believe, Jason Gracias. Yes, he is. Your race leader has pitted here on lap 45. Chris Darling stays out another lap, though. So does Matt Cherry. But the pit window now open for that 3-stop strategy we were talking about, Garrett. And Jason Gracias immediately down pit road for those 4 fresh Goodyears.
I'm only calling it a 2-stop strategy because I think they're only pitting twice, Mitchell, but I don't know where you went to school or what your math is, but you guys are probably doing Common Core or something. But Chris Darling coming to pit road. I hope we have the sound effect ready for when he gets into his pit box. I'm sure he won't miss it this time. The pressure is on, Chris.
Yep, Chris Darling, good pit entry for the 2-stop strategy. Thank you, Garrett, for correcting me early on about that one so I don't go rambling on about an extra pit stop. But we will see if any of those drivers that pit earlier on have to make that 3rd stop. I imagine they've got it worked out here in the National Sim Racing Association. You see Darling hit the box clean. Chris Darling in his box clean on this round of pit stops. And only a handful of drivers remain out on the racetrack. Leader right now is this number 8 of Martin Plute. Last week's race winner. There he goes down pit road. Martin Plute in that Ski Soda machine comes down pit road, turning over the race lead to Philip Scott Garrett from 17th to 1st. Granted, he has to make a pit stop still, as do the 15 behind him. The 14 of Jeff Price remains out. Adam Lichty, Jeremy Richmond, Ben Mashburn all remain on the racetrack, I believe, at the moment. Mikey Williams and Stephen McDonald also possibly. So still about 8 or 9 drivers needing to make a pit stop. As you see, the 47 of Dalton Hayes work quickly around the 99 of Scott, who's down pit road, pitting from the race lead this time by Jeffrey Clifton. Wants to go lead a lap. Those, I do believe, Garrett, they get bonus points for laps led, so that is something to consider. But car stopped on the racetrack. That was the 98 of Richmond. We'll have to see what happened to him here, Garrett, on the replay.
Well, looks like 98 made some contact with the wall there and just pulled it all the way down. Oh, we're going to go back a little further. Yeah, if I didn't know any better, I would say that's a blown tire. Made him go into the wall and then into the opposite wall, and then it looked like the 98 just said, I've had enough of this place. I'll see you guys next week, and exited and towed the pit road.
Could be a blown tire. He went in a straight line down there. Could be some kind of equipment malfunction on board that number 98 machine. On board with him, straight up into the wall, and then he goes straight down into the infield wall. I feel like that had to have been some sort of mechanical failure on board the number 98, but did a good job stopping and getting off the track. You see that wheel held pretty straight by Jeremy Richmond, so that one gonna be a little bit of a mystery, but from my perspective here, I think something went amiss there on board that number 98, but we continue green as Jeff Price now making his pit stop, pitting from the race lead, leaving the 4 of Ben Mashburn out on the racetrack. I believe he I believe Ben Mashburn, the last truck remaining out on track that hasn't pitted, if what I am assuming is correct, but it looks like the 17 of Maurer might have cycled out into the race lead through this round of pit stops. We'll have to wait and see once Ben Mashburn pits and Jeff Price gets scored correctly. As here goes Ben Mashburn down pit road, the 4 at lap 51, stretched that fuel really far, almost got the caution he might have been hoping for too, Garrett, but just came up a little short of that. But it is the 17 of Maurer who through that pit cycle has inherited the race lead.
Yeah, good strategy call for the 17. Come in, got the fresh tires, and took advantage of them, leading the race right now. But Mitchell, he might have to stop an extra time, so I think at some point he's going to want a yellow in the middle of a run, so everyone's going to come in, make a pit stop, and then he could get on the same strategy, because 40, 80, I just don't know if he could stretch it from what we've seen that far. But I mean, he's going to take advantage of his track position now, and it certainly paid off. So if you have to do something like this again, you're definitely going to try it one more time at least.
Yeah, and he might be forced into a short pit once again because he has less fuel in the tank than some of the other drivers due to pitting earlier in this race. Nick Kessler in the number 88, about 1 second behind that 17, who is knee-deep in lap traffic right now, fighting with the 77 Simbox machine of Doug Neal, that Alpha Terry 42, and Ben Mashburn there in the number 4, all laps down, trying to work their way around the 17. Like we said, Nick Kessler in the 88 is second right now. Mikey Williams in the number 32, actually just coming down for his pit stop. So Mikey, I think, wins the race on fuel, stretches at 54 laps here on the first run of the race. He was running third, though, on track when he pitted. So this time by the leaders will cycle through there up at the top of your screen. The order will be correct, and it is Tristan Maurer through that strategy, inheriting the race lead, a healthy lead, might I say, to Garrett. Jason Gracias in the 1, 7 seconds behind Tristan Maurer.
Wow. Those, how many, about five laps on tires, and Tristan was able to gap about 7 seconds plus whatever he was behind on Jason Gracias. As we're looking here at the interval, Gracias is gaining about 4/10 or so a lap, so it's going to take him a little bit of time to get there, but he should be able to get there with this tire fall off.
And those are healthy gains he is making on the leader of Tristan Maurer. We'll see as he crosses the line this time by. Going to be another half a second, over half a second gain. So with that, in about 10 to 12 laps probably, that number 1 machine should be there if he keeps this pace up. He's just over 6 seconds behind now, so Jason Gracias coming with a fury here, but looking back at another good battle continues to go on. I feel like around 10th place, Garrett, has been where the battles have been through quite a bit of this race. Now it's the 11 of Julian Tesoro, Justin White fighting for 11th, but the battle around the top 10 position has been solid all night long.
11th place is one of those spots that nobody wants to finish, Mitchell. You want to be in that top 10, because what is 11th? Like, you go through that rundown, it's like, oh yeah, Justin White had a good night, finished top 10. Or it's like, oh, Justin White finished in 11th place. It just doesn't have the same oomph to it. So these guys are all fighting hard. Good battle here for 11th, but they got their eyes set ahead of them. Try to get into the top 10 before this thing's all said and done.
Well, if like they say, second place is the first loser, would that make 11th place the first loser of the 9th loser?
Well, Mitchell, with comments like that, I think it's best you just do the broadcast here alone the rest of the night, because you just lost me completely.
Looking back out on track now, the 25 of Randy Perdue leads this group here. This is just a little right in front, actually, of that battle we were just watching. They have caught the 25 of Purdue, the Beer Street Journal machine of Stan Hausmann, looking underneath the 25 of Purdue. Tesoro, oh, contact maybe between Tesoro and Justin White. They keep it going, though, but close quarters racing. 3 wide. Oh, Tesoro slides up in front of the 25. They're getting racy now as we come almost to lap 60, almost halfway through getting there.
We talked about the draft earlier, and this is like a pack race right here, like we were at Daytona. Justin White, I think, led off a little bit there, cut the 30 a break, and it was about 60 laps from now on lap 120. I don't think the 2 was lifting as much as he did there, so that was a good veteran move by Justin. Don't want to bring out the yellow, but certainly something he's going to expect the 30 to repay the favor later on.
Yeah, race car drivers don't forget easily, but good patient move by Justin White. Did know it is early in this race. We're just halfway, a little less than halfway through it, so plenty of time left, plenty of time to go make that pass. We have 1 pit stop left if they stay green. See, I correct my math. I learn more up here in the broadcast booth than I do in the Common Core math class we've learned here on 3 Wide TV tonight. As this battle continues to rage on, you saw Jeffrey Clifton and Julian Tesoro going at it. Justin White continues to battle now the 15, looking underneath the 2 of Justin White for the 11th position side by side through turns 1 and 2. The 15, good job up there on the inside. That car holding to the white line very well, but Justin White gets the straighter exit. He's going to have a run back into turns 3 and 4 underneath the 15, trying to make it work. But that 15 of Clifton, he looks pretty strong right now.
15 looks strong out there. He was solidly up near the top 5. It looks like he lost a little bit on that cycle of pit stops, but that truck has some speed in it, so I wouldn't be surprised. The last pit lap, look at that, right in the graphic there. It's been, what, 30 laps since, I'm sorry, 15. He came in the lap 49, so thank you, Peter. You caught me by surprise there, and I'll try to do better.
Well, we're coming again from our producer, Peter Shore. Garrett fired for the 2nd time tonight in this broadcast. Garrett, maybe you can make it a hat trick, get a 3rd time before we go off air. You still have half the race left to do it, so we will keep you posted on that little bit of action as well here on 3 Wide TV. As the 30 made an aggressive slide to block the 15. I was going to call it. That was a very aggressive move by the 30 of Tesoro to hold that 10th place position. So he's not making too many friends between Justin White and the 15 of Clifton in the last couple of laps. We'll keep our eye on that as they continue to fight. Now Clifton looking underneath the 30 again. This time I think he'll be able to complete the pass, slide in behind Stan Hausmann in the Beer Street Journal. Number 39 machine, they're fighting with Garrett Gleason's best friend Dalton Hayes there in the number 47, who currently runs 8th. Stan Hausmann looking up the inside of Hayes, trying to get the run completed. The 15 follow him, giving him a push down the back straightaway. Good racing here for the 8th position.
Good racing for the 8th position, and just stay away from that 47 because that guy's fans are ruthless. They said so many hurtful things about me. I thought I was back in the 6th grade because I have not heard that in many, many years. But nice to see Dalton Hayes having a run. There's no menace out there in the number 7 Zorse machine to wreck his race, and a good battle. And here we go again with the the 30 and the 2 and the 47. I mean, what could possibly happen that could be bad here?
Well, the 47, excuse me, of Hayes on a slide through the field now, so he's going to hope to gather it back up, get it back in line, and get the momentum going back in his favor. The 15 of Clifton works around Stan Hausmann, though, in the 39. Clifton continues his charge up through the field. With in this pack, I talked about it, Clifton's just able to hook that white line, or he hooks the middle, wherever he's running. That truck holds the line, I think, just about as good as anybody we've seen at this point in the run. So that 15 moved his way through this pack of cars, gonna set his sights on the 99 of Philip Scott, who's about 2 seconds in front in that National Ninja League machine. So we will be posted on that. And as the leader, Tristan Maurer, crosses the line, this time we are halfway through the race. So we are at the halfway point. It is the 17 of Maurer leading us there. Nick Kessler still runs second, but Jason Gracias, we'll get the Jason Gracias update here. 3 seconds back of Tristan Maurer, but about to catch Nick Kessler for the second position here in a handful of laps. You see the gap there between, well, it was Maurer and Kessler. Now it's Maurer and Gracias, and you can see the gains that Jason Gracias has been making. Not quite as fast as it was earlier, still very fast, 3 or 4 tenths a lap. So Jason Gracias charging up really quick. There's the comparison. Chris Darling has also caught Maurer by about 2 seconds over the last couple of laps. Nate Maurer running 5th. I believe actually Maurer pulled away, if I'm reading that graphic correct there. So Tristan Maurer doing a, I was right. Common Core serves me well. So Maurer doing a very good job, though, up on those slightly older tires, Garrett. He's doing a good job hanging in, and they could be catching him a lot faster than they are. Of course, Tristan, a very good race car driver and definitely a contender here in the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series.
Tristan's a fantastic driver, a great guy, but man, Mitchell, he is a choke artist. I remember him leading at the Roval, blowing it. He's led plenty of races at TNR and blown it. Maybe he won't blow it tonight and embarrass himself. I can only hope, but he's doing a great job. And if he's coming in on lap 80 and he's able to hold this lead until then or about then his strategy plays off. But the elephant in the room is, will he make it on fuel? So that's what we need to figure out, because if he has to stop one more time, it doesn't matter the laps he's leading right now. He's going to need that equalizer in form of a caution as we watch a battle here for second place. Gracias is coming, and he's coming quickly.
Yeah, Jason Gracias should, at the rate he was going, not have too much trouble with Nick Kessler, but Kessler holding strong there in the outside lane. And like you said, Tristan Maurer, very strong race car driver. I think I remember that Roval finish, actually. It was, I think I was part of that one, if it's the one I'm thinking of. Tristan Maurer, I think it's the best finish of my sim racing career, so can't forget that one with Tristan. He definitely knows what he's doing behind the wheel of one of these race trucks, but it is Jason Gracias making not too difficult work of the 88 of Kessler here. So Kessler down to the 3rd position. Chris Darling gonna hope to catch him here in a couple laps. He's a little further back, but back here where the action continues, there is the 51 of Lichty underneath the 47 of Dalton Hayes, who continues the tumble down the field. Was running 8th last time we were looking at him, got passed by a couple drivers, now losing 15th to Lichty. Here comes Matt Cherry trying to take the position away. Of course, Hayes trying to give him the fight back on the inside, but just seems to be struggling with the handle of that race car a little bit, as you saw how close Matt Cherry got to him down the back straight away. These two, good battle here for the 15th position. You see Dalton Hayes on that graphic is up 15 positions. That is because that 47 started 31st today. So he's on the slide through the field right now, but still up those 15 positions. So still solid running for Dalton Hayes in 47.
Yeah, good job, Dalton. The 6th biggest mover of the race, and I just look forward to you clipping all the mistakes I made in the booth this week, like you did the mistakes I made on the track last week. So I look forward to seeing those on the Discord later.
Well, that's a lot of work, Garrett. I'm not sure if Dalton Hayes has time for that. No, I'm kidding with you, but all jokes aside, strong run so far for the 47, but a lot of strong runs here out on the racetrack. And when you're up 14 positions, that's a fast race car, but still only 16th. That's how competitive this Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series field is here in the NSRA. Looking back a little bit further in the battle for the 18th position, 19th, that is the 23 of Travis White, who is laps down. The graphics right, I'm wrong. Common Core fails. And this is the battle for 19th between Ben Mashburn and David Buell in the Simbox machine. Lost a little bit of time to the 4 of Mashburn. It's a familiar paint scheme. I believe that's one maybe Doug Neal ran at some point. Is what David Buell, running. Dalton Hayes in that 47 down pit road, on board with him here on a replay, seeing what happened with the 47, working his way through the corner. No, it just came down pit road, I think. So maybe struggling with the tires, decided to make an early pit stop here in that number 47. Potentially try and see if he can work his way back up through the field again on some tire strategy, as long as it stays green at least.
Yeah, it's worth a shot. You're running 15th, you're sliding back a little bit. Come get the fresh tires and try to take advantage of them. This race definitely has that green flag feel. As we're watching a battle for 5th place here between Philip Scott, Martin Plute. And Martin Plute, I'll tell you what, Mitchell, I have been so impressed with him. I was only racing super speedway races with him, and I did not know how good of a racer he was on these normal oval tracks. He's a real deal, and I'm not surprised to see him battling here for a top 5 position.
Certainly a great race car driver behind the wheel. Picked up the win at Daytona, battling in the top 5 here tonight. Still battling around the 10th place position, where the battle, like we said, has been quite a bit here tonight. Justin White has it at the moment, but Nate Maurer in the Simbox racing machine looking in the high line, trying to take it away from him, but Julian Tesoro going to try and get underneath Nate Maurer. Josh Sobel right there. Sobel looking to have a strong run here tonight. Like we said, running 12th at the moment. Sobel, very strong race car driver here. Would love to get up further in the pack. Of course, all these drivers would here tonight. We sometimes we single out contenders sometimes in the booth, but really here in the NSRA, there's not like 2 or 3 or 4 drivers who stand out as contenders, because any of these drivers in the top 10, they all could win this race. They're all that good. It's just a super high level of competition, and that's why we see these battles continue all race long here, with these drivers still bumper to bumper on lap 79. They've been running like this for about 75 laps is how long this run has gone, including pit stops.
Let's give a shout out to everyone here involved. Great league sponsors, Jimbo, Beer Street, from Stay Tuned Sports, Beer Street Journal, and Stan. And the administrators, Chris, Justin, they did a tremendous job recruiting these guys to this truck series, to this league in general. And they have them out here racing with respect. Nobody is running anyone over, and they're putting on a crazy race. And speaking of our league sponsor, here's Jimbo. He's out there learning. He's new to this. He watched so many of our broadcasts. He's been a great sponsor for this league and our league as well. And he wanted to get in on the action. So what's he doing? He's out there making laps, and just he's going to get better every week. And hopefully by the end of the season, we're going to see that 18 and Jimbo having a good run. I mean, I like to joke around with him. If he finishes last every week, I'll have fun with it. But I know that's not going to be the case. And it's nice to see him out there, even though he's like 65 years old or whatever I said earlier. Yeah, my good friend. I might go visit him in Wilkes-Barre for his birthday on the 25th. So I don't think that's his actual address. I think he actually lives in Kingston, if I remember correctly. But we'll find you, Jimbo. You can't hide from us.
Yeah, well, Jimbo up 7 positions from the start of the race, and that's exactly how to learn. We all started out at some point, and the best way to get out there and get fast and get contending for the races is just to churn laps and race around drivers who know what they're doing, and that's exactly what Jimbo's doing here in the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series. Battle for the lead, though. Jason Gracias has caught Tristan Maher in the 17 up on the high lane. Gracias with those fresher tires. Still, you wait for them to equalize if you're Tristan Maher, but that just doesn't seem to be the case, as Jason Gracias with a little bit too much speed for Maher to hold back, but he continues to give him the fight. Gracias gets clear into turn 3, and it looks like he's going to be able to pull clear just a little bit. Chris Darling was on a similar strategy to Gracias. He's around the Taz Racing Customs machine of Nick Kessler for the 3rd position now. Darling just a little bit back of this battle for the race lead, but he will also continue to come and presumably catch Maher, because Darling also has some fresher tires. There, Philip Scott, you see him here battling with Martin Plute, last week's race winner, for the 5th position. We talked about wanting to finish in the top 10, Garrett, not wanting to finish 11th, but running 6th place, also one of those spots you really just want to be up inside that top 5, as Josh Sobel heads down pit road, maybe starting another wave of pit stops here at lap 84.
Josh Sobel had a nice run last night, Mitchell. He had that well, it looks like he just disappeared. I hope he's not calling it a night. I hope that's just a camera glitch. But Josh had a very good car last night. He kept it on the bottom. It was tremendous on a long green flag run. So I hope the 75 wasn't having problems there. But if he was, I'd certainly love to hear about it.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on it. What happens with Josh Sobel there? Had a strong run here tonight going as well, fighting her inside or around the top 10 there. Last time we had looked at him, Jason Gracias pulling away though from the 17 of Tristan Maurer right now. Maurer half a second back from Gracias at the moment. Darling is 2 seconds back from Jason Gracias right now, so comfortable lead right now for Jason Gracias, and if they keep with the strategy, about lap 90 is when we could expect the drivers down pit road or somewhere around there. Curious to see when the 17 has to come in because he made an earlier stop, but we had driver stretch fuel 54 laps last run, so definitely doable here at Homestead as we're queuing up a replay here for you. Looking at the 75 of Josh Sobel, seeing if something happened to him. There's a little bit of a connection bugaboo, and oh, he gets loose out of turn 2. Gathers it up, though. Sobel keeps it going down the back straightaway, though, and then heads for the pit entrance lane. And getting word now that I should go look out here in the YouTube chat. And, oh, the monitors decide to go kaput. That's not good. That's another one of those technical bugaboos that, unfortunate for Josh Sobel. We hope you get all that figured out and back with us here in the series. Meanwhile, though, green flag pit stops for your race leaders, Jason Gracias, Tristan Maurer, Chris Darling, and several others all come down. Nick Kessler stayed out, though, so he will assume the race lead as you see them all getting those 4 fresh tires and fuel. But the 88 of Kessler opting to stay out a little bit longer here, hoping for maybe that fresh tire advantage we saw Gracias get that last run.
Mitchell, that strategy worked out perfectly for the 17 of Tristan Maurer. He was able to pit on the same lap as Jason Gracias, so we're assuming nobody will have to make another stop. So these guys have all evened out, and now you're 17. You could focus on hunting that number 1 down, and we'll see what the 88 ends up doing here. But I think now, if you're in the window, there's no way Jason Gracias pitted there and wasn't in the window. So these trucks need to get to pit road, and they need to get to pit road quick and get this last stop underway.
We will see what Kessler does this time by. Looks to be slowing up. Yes, he is. Nick Kessler headed into the pit lane, so going to hope to come out somewhere in the general vicinity of these race leaders. We will have to keep our eye on Kessler, who's had a strong car, or truck, I should say, all night here tonight. See the 30 of Tesoro leaving his pit box. Matt Cherry also down there in pit road. A lot of drivers headed down here, but we say this like it'll go green to the end, but you never know what will happen here when we race as hard as they do here in the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series. There's always that variable of an unexpected caution, which is what drivers like the number 8 of Martin Plute are counting on right now. Well, I say that and he goes down pit road, proves me wrong. Martin Plute down for his pit stop. So is Jeffrey Clifton. I believe that is most of the drivers now making their green flag stops. But if a caution were to come out, it would change everything. These drivers have 3 sets of tires in the box tonight. They've taken 2 of them so far, so only 1 more set if we were to get some late race yellows. So there's always different variables for the crew chiefs to keep their thoughts on. But Stan Hausmann in the 39 still hasn't made his pit stop. He is your race leader. Neither has Jeff Price as well. Here goes Hausmann, I believe. Yes, down pit road this time. Good pit road entry for Hausmann, who's had a strong run here tonight.
Stan's been showing some speed off lately. I've definitely been keeping notice in both our series. Jeff Price coming to pit road. It's time, everyone. Let's hit your marks, make that final money stop, and get back out there and see if you could sneak into that top 10 or top 5 that we've been talking about all night long.
I don't remember if it was the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series or the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series, but I know that Stan Hausmann finished 2nd place in one of those at Daytona last week, so definitely hungry to go grab that win, and has shown a strong truck here tonight hasn't quite been able to go up and mix it up with the race leaders because of how long this run has been. They've been able to slide away a little bit, but definitely expect to see more of Stan throughout the season. Very strong race car driver in that one. Meanwhile, back out on track, Ben Mashburn, once again the driver who is staying out long here on this cycle. He is the last truck who has yet to go down pit road, hoping for one of those cautions we talked about here is Ben Mashburn, but he maybe go 5 or 6 laps, Garrett, maybe a little more, but you gotta get that caution soon because Jason Gracias is only 4 seconds back. But here's a good battle. They continue to battle. These drivers have been around each other all race long. Justin White, now in the 9th position, has the 15 of Jeff Clifton right behind him, and Nate Maurer was there, slipped back just a little bit from these two, but they are side by side through 3 and 4 down the front straightaway. Good battle continues between White and Clifton.
Yeah, like you said, these guys can knock it away from each other. And, you know, Mitchell, if a yellow does happen to come out here, that 15, I'm going to think he's going to get into the top 5. I just think there's, like you said, there's enough speed in that truck. He's hooking this racetrack as good as anyone out there. And if he could just get that track position, that 15 could pounce on these guys. So definitely a sleeper to keep an eye on if this race stops being completely green flag. These drivers are all doing a tremendous job, but you have to think to yourself, what are the odds that we get to the finish like this?
Well, always with how aggressive they are, it could happen at any time. Last night in the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series, we went green until I think about lap 75 of 80. And then a caution came out. It'd gone green flag right up until the end. So it's always a possibility no matter how clean the racing has been. And we just kind of have to sit here and wait and see. It makes it a lot more interesting to think about the possibility of that happening. 13th place, Adam Newton, Julian Tesoro, 2 drivers who also have been around each other for the vast majority of the race, putting on a fight here. There's Jimbo in that 18 machine there with them there, getting put a lap down by those 2. Jeff Price right back there in the 14. Battle between Matt Cherry and Stan Hausmann, though, going on for the 15th position. Battle for the top 15. Cherry has it right now. Hausmann wants it, and he's going to look up the inside to try and take it away from the Stay Tuned Sports podcast machine.
Looks like the 39 has a little more speed than the 5 does at this point in time, but here's where it's getting to get a little snug on the corner exit. These guys are giving each other space, and they'll race this out down the front stretch and see if they can figure it out going into turn 1. But the 5 in the outside lane has the momentum.
Yeah, the outside lane seems to have been able to carry really good momentum, but early on in the runs, typically that inside will just have a little more speed, which is what we see happening with Stan Hausmann. And that battle let Jeff Price get pretty close to him, not quite there, but watch the 14. Meanwhile, back here with Martin Plute, last week's race winner, and not Dalton Hayes, excuse me, Jeffrey Clifton, bumper to bumper into the corner, battling for 8th. Philip Scott in 7th, just right up in front of them in that number 99 machine. And I mentioned Dalton Hayes been on the short pit strategy. He is right out in front of these drivers, running 6th at the moment. So Hayes, the strategy's been working for him, but he just slowly slips it back as time goes on. So he probably wants a caution. I assume he still has the extra set of tires in the pits. I'm not completely sure on that one, but you see the 99 of Philip Scott as well catching the 47. So battle for 6th, battle for 8th, both on your screen right now. Martin Plute fending off Clifton, who again has been strong all race long. Ben Mashburn, that's more of what I would call the Kyle Larson line, Garrett. We talked about it. He's been one of the only drivers we've seen this race venture up into that absolute high line.
It just looks fun, Mitchell. I don't know, like just from a broadcast point of view as a racer myself, just the fact that Ben's up there dusting off the track for everyone else running that groove that no one else is running, it puts a smile on my face. I can't help it. And this also puts a smile on my face. Some great racing here. 99, the 15. Like anywhere you look in this field, you see these guys battling. It is crunch time, and track position matters. Just looking at a battle between the 30 and the 39 for 13th position.
Yep, Tesoro and Hausmann racing very hard for 13th right now. We watched this battle just a little bit ago, and it continues. The battle for the 15th position also still just as heated up as it was when we left. The Matt Cherry, Adam Newton, and Jeff Price all still going at it back there. Price looking under Newton, and Hausmann looking under Tesoro as well. So plenty of action going on all through the pack. Like you said, Homestead has definitely done its job this week in the NSRA, putting on some great races for us to watch here, and want to thank you all for tuning in and watching with us here. We have Alicia Casterline out in the chat, Josh Sobel also been out there, Ryder Lang. We have Ken Goodwin out there, Garrett Gleason. I don't know where I know the name Garrett Gleason. Somewhere, I guess. Adam Dama and quite a few others have been out there. So thank you all for tuning in here tonight. We are getting toward the closing stages. This is where it starts to get really good. Taking lap 102 of 134. About 33 laps to go, I believe, here from Homestead. So in the closing stages of the race tonight, Garrett, and we see close battles through the field, which includes Martin Plute here, Jeffrey Clifton, Philip Scott. But one I'm looking at is Tristan Maher has not let Jason Gracias go either up front. He's kept him about a half a second up front. So your leader not running away with it here either. So we'll see what happens as the run progresses for those drivers. But so far, single file right here, just waiting to get a run, which could happen at any time. And there it does, Clifton looking up the inside of Plute.
I thought Clifton would need a yellow to get into the top 5. He's doing a good job trying to get to 6th place here. So that 15, what a run. And you were talking about our leaders. It's Ben Mashburn has enough of the high lane, pulls into the pit road. But you're talking about our leaders, Jason Gracias, Tristan Maher. Guys are teammates. They race together all the time. Jason's in the chat with Tristan right now, and I know Tristan's thinking to himself, man, if I could just get there, I'll do anything to win this race, even though it is my teammate. But don't let him get out of your sights. You never know what could happen.
Yeah, those two definitely will put on a great race for us here if they get the chance to here as we get into the closing stages. And the 15 still getting away a little bit ahead here in the Bagcraft 200 here in the NSRA Stay Tuned Sports Podcast. Again, we can't forget Bagcraft sponsoring today's race here. Go check them out. Bagcraft, you can find them, I know, on Facebook. They have a website. I don't know exactly what that is.
It's
off the top of my head.
BagcraftCornhole.com. Tony Lucarelli, a good friend of mine. That's his apparel company. So if you play cornhole, you want some cool gear, he's working on some new merchandise. It should be up on the site soon. But like Mitchell said, like them on Facebook, BagcraftCornhole.com. Certainly any business is appreciated. Go check them out.
And it's also linked down in the video description. I just found if you want to go check them out, you just have to go click a button and then the link's right there for you. I've checked out Bagcraft. They have a lot of good stuff. I'm not a big cornhole guy myself, but if I were, I definitely know that I have Bagcraft Cornhole to go get any of the things I could need for that. So definitely a great race sponsor here today. As we continue to look out on the track, that's the 29 of Newton in the Budweiser machine. Jimbo in the 18 starting to get up into that Larson lane in the high line. See Jimbo experimenting with the different lines here on this racetrack as Dalton Hayes down pit road. He is taking a 3-stop strategy here in this race. Garrett, somebody did it at least. They didn't want me to be completely wrong up here in the booth. Dalton Hayes down for another pit stop, which I don't know if that was planned because it definitely takes him out of contention unless we get a caution here. But the 47 of Hayes down pit road, pits from inside the top 10. Meanwhile, the 30 of Tesoro, the 14 of Price continue to go at it here for the 11th position just outside the top 10. 39 of Stan Hausmann has that 10th spot just about a second in front of these two. So right now they're fighting for who's going to get the chance to go try and run down Hausmann for the top 10 finish.
Yeah, top 10, very important. You want to have that little check in your column. You don't want to go through the whole year and not have a top 10, so if this is your chance, go for it. But who would have thought that Dalton Hayes would try to make you look good and me look bad with a 3-stop strategy there, Mitchell? Who would have thought?
Well, I'm sure you would have thought, Garrett. I don't know if Dalton Hayes is listening to us. Sometimes I feel like the drivers listen to us because I always say things and then they do the opposite of what I'm saying up here in the booth. Like, I think a couple times I've talked about how drivers are staying out waiting for a caution and then they pit. So they just love to mess with us up here in the broadcast booth, usually unintentionally. But looking at the lap times between Jason Gracias and Tristan Maurer, you see it's been about even over the last 5 laps. Maurer gained a little, then Gracias gained the exact same amount right back, pulled about 2/10 last time by, though. Maurer pulled a 1/10.5, so back and forth lap times between these two. Tristan about 3/4 of a second behind your race leader, Jason Gracias, and they've got a healthy lead at the moment over Chris Darling in the 2nd position, so those two going to be going at it for the race lead. On board Philip Scott in the number 99, who can't get away from Martin Plute in the number 8. Philip trying to make the pass happen. They've been battling for the last probably 20 laps or so, I have to imagine. Good job by both of these drivers, and also getting the lap time comparison there as we hit 25 laps to go. Adam Lichty down pit road, so another driver on the 3-stop strategy. Interesting that some drivers are electing to do this. They may have just got their pit numbers a little bit wrong because Lichty's been up there, but maybe there's a strategy I haven't picked up on so far.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to work out for those drivers unless something freakish happens, but this race has been green flag from the beginning, and sometimes you bet on a caution and sometimes you lose.
Yeah, and we've only had one caution. It came out on lap 1, so we have had, as we hit lap 111, about 110 laps. Well, if you figure in the caution laps, about 105 laps of green flag racing here so far in the Bagcraft 200. So these drivers have done a very good job keeping it clean and putting on a great race for us to watch here up in the booth. There's a look at Tristan Maurer, though, who has slipped back a couple of tenths since we last looked at him. 51 of Lichty on fresh tires will get by him pretty quickly. Jason Gracias has his hands full with a lap car up there. That is the 20 of Patrick Morrison. Gracias is trying to work around right now. Morrison in the number 20 is currently, let me see, 1 lap down, so just got put 2 laps down by race leader Jason Gracias. That's a little bit more difficult to climb out of, as there goes Lichty on the fresh tires, but 5 position gain for Morrison. Still 5 position gain, 29th to 24th. Still nothing to be ashamed of here.
Nothing to be ashamed of at all, and you're out here, you're learning. You're going to come back here next season or whatever, and you're going to have a notebook of information, whether it's a mental notebook or you actually write things down. You'll know what you did wrong, you'll know what you need to do better, and you'll know what the leaders did to win this race. You'll have 100 and whatever laps worth of data to go through. So there's always a positive in racing if you look for one.
Yeah, Morrison making in his rookie campaign this season, so driver to keep our eye on to contend for more wins as the season goes on. Here's the battle for 9th between Nate Maurer and Stan Hausmann. Hausmann, we talked about Price trying to run him down, but instead Hausmann has run down Nate Maurer in the Simbox racing machine for the 9th place position. These two have done a very good job. Strong run for both of them here so far tonight. Nate Maurer started 6th, slipped back to 9th, so maybe not quite the night Maurer has wanted, but still has had a strong top 10 truck all night long. Hausmann started 13th up to 10th at the moment, but trying to be up to 9th as he looks up the inside of Nate Maurer. Gonna get the position through the center of the corner. Hausmann doing a very good job up the inside lane. Strong 39 truck, but Jeff Price there in the 14. You see him, Garrett. He's creeping into this picture.
Yeah, if you're the 39 and the 971 here, you want to figure it out. If you're faster than me, I want to preserve my top 10. I'm not going to race side by side and let Jeff Price get up in here and mess this up for me. But that 14 and Jeff Price looks like he has some speed, and he's going to get to them regardless if they're single file or side by side.
Yeah, Jeff Price, strong car, or strong truck for him as well. The battle for the 5th place position has not slowed down. Seeing Jeff Clifton up in front of Martin Plute, who has broken away from Philip Scott in the 99. So Martin Plute prevailed in the battle we were watching for a while with Scott. He's now gone up to challenge Jeffrey Clifton for the 5th place position, who I've been very impressed with Clifton here tonight. Started 5th, running 5th right now, but feel like he's driven through a lot of trucks here late in this race to get up into the top 5. So he's going to be a driver definitely as well to keep our eye on here as the season progresses here in the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series, but he might have his hands full with Martin Plute here in a couple laps. We will have to wait and see what happens between these two on track. Nate Maurer cutting back to him again. Jeff Price has managed to run him down a little bit. Julian Tesoro is behind them, trying to run him down from a second back. Not quite there yet, though. Jeff Price has had a strong start to the season in that number 14 machine. He came into tonight 27th in points, didn't have the Daytona he wanted, but showed speed at Daytona, showing speed here tonight. Jeff Price is a playoff contender here in the NSRA, so again, battling with Nate Maurer, another contender here in the series. Both of them have made championship runs through the playoffs. Neither of them has managed to pick it up, but both have been contenders in the past and trying to do so once again this season. Is Jeff Price looking up the inside of Nate Maurer.
Yeah, two very talented race truck drivers in this instance. Guys I've raced with, have a lot of respect for, that can definitely wheel a truck around any track on the schedule. So like you said, they're definitely chase contenders and guys I expect to be there at the end. And looks like Jeff is going to win this battle here for 10th place and sneak under the 971, but we'll see if the 971 has anything on that outside lane coming back towards him.
Yeah, Nate Maurer trying to get the fight back. Jeff Price got a little loose out of turn 4. That is going to give the 971 a run back at him. Not going to do anything with it, though, for the time being, which gives us a chance to cut up to the battle for the 5th position. That was the 47 of Dalton Hayes, who is lapped down. At the moment, Hayes not in that battle, working through him on fresh tires, but Plute has caught the 15 of Clifton, so that battle for the 5th position is on as Clifton got up close to the wall, trying to search around for that grip, but that let Martin Plute in the number 8 get under him here as they head into turn 1, battling for the top 5.
Great battle here for 5th. It looks like the 15 is not going to be able to hold off Martin Plute. Good run by both these guys, and like we said earlier, if the yellow would have came out, I think that 15 would have been able to move a little further forward. But Martin's doing everything he needs to do to get himself in the top 5, and maybe he'll be able to set his sights on 4th place here.
Yeah, Martin Plute doing a good job one last week, trying to get in the top 5, but the 15 of Clifton fighting back up the inside. Gonna get to the rear corner panel of Plute into turn 1. Trying to make the move. Plute going to the Larson line, running the wall there through turns 1 and 2, searching for speed. Looks to be doing it to really good effect. Martin Plute, ton of speed down the back straightaway. Great job by Martin Plute. That's the first time I think we've seen the absolute high line used in by one of these race leaders here. Well, Ben Mashburn did it when he was staying out on tires, but late in the runs here, I don't think we've really seen these drivers venture up quite that far. Martin Plute doing a good job. We'll see if he does it again, but they're finding speed everywhere here on this racetrack, which is something we love to see.
For those of you in the chat here that don't race, that is a tremendous feeling when you get that truck to stick on that top lane, because you feel like you have rockets coming out of that truck with the momentum and the run you get off that high side, and you're able to pass guys down the straightaway like they're standing still. It's incredible as a race car driver, but it's also very easy to screw up. If you miss your marks, you'll end up in that outside wall and you lose all your momentum. But that was a great job by Martin Plute there to show you how to do it the correct way.
And as we approach 10 laps to go, when race leader Jason Gracias crosses the line this time, you see him right there in that MaxGrafix number 1 machine. He is pulled away to a 2 1/4 second lead over Tristan Maurer in 2nd place. So Jason Gracias has done exactly what he needs to do on this run, and he's just praying that we don't get a caution, which is exactly what everybody else in the field is wanting at this moment in time.
Yeah, everyone else wants the yellow, but he certainly doesn't. He's more than happy if this race was going to end 10 laps early. It wouldn't bother that number 1 at all. But if you're anyone else, every little thing out there, you see somebody sideways, you're hoping they don't correct it. It's just the the nature of the beast. But Jason Gracias has done everything right tonight. He's put himself in position to win. He saved his stuff, and with 9 laps to go, he's pulling away from second place. And as long as nothing happens, this should be his trophy to take home.
Working through a little bit of lap traffic at the moment. The 12 of Gerald Baker you see on screen right now. Gerald Baker had a solid night as well. Kind of a quiet night, running 1 lap down. At the moment, actually 2 laps down when scoring updates for us here. So good run for Baker in the 24th position, up a couple spots from where he started as well. But here we go again, battle for 11th. Nate Maurer kind of on a slide back as well. He got caught by Julian Tesoro in the 30, and Tesoro going to be able to make the pass and get around Nate Maurer in the 971. Nate trying to fight back though, but not quite going to be able to get there into 3 and 4. So Julian Tesoro moves up a spot here in the late going of this race, coming to 8 laps to go for those drivers. Race leader coming to 7 to go next time they cross the line, and you see them both running in the middle. I feel like everyone is running a different lane at this point in the race. You saw Nate Maurer go from middle to bottom. Tesoro held the middle. We've seen drivers up all the way on the wall. Drivers like the 15 of Clifton painting the white line. There's just so many different approaches, and all of them are working here at Homestead Miami Speedway in the Bagcraft 200 as Jason Gracias continues to just keep doing what he's been doing for a lot of the race here up front. Doing a good job. Gonna have to work past the AlphaTauri machine of Stephen McDonald here, possibly in the next couple laps. Only 6 left in the race though, as you see him continue to extend that gap over Maurer.
I'm really getting sick of Jason Gracias winning, Mitchell, to be honest. Every race we seem to do, this guy is just out there leading, and it's just how talented he is, how consistent he is, and how smart he is as a race car driver. And he's more than willing to give his time to help other guys, but there's just so much experience and knowledge that Jason Gracias has that separates him from these other guys, and it's really no surprise to see him with such a comfortable lead here in the closing stages.
Yeah, Gracias definitely found his share of success here in the NSRA and on 3 Wide TV of late. Very hot right now. Of course, your defending series champion, I believe, here in the State Team Sports Podcast Truck Series is Gracias, so comes with that chip on his shoulder as well. Looking to defend here in that championship, trying to go for 2 in a row. Of course, a long season ahead of Gracias before that, but he has to be a contender with runs like this. 2 seconds in front of Tristan Maurer, looking to close out the win here as we get 5 laps to go.
Yeah, nice and smooth. That's what you're thinking if you're Jason Gracias, as far as yourself and your fellow competitors. And if you see anything out in front of you in the mirror that even looks remotely sketchy, you're just hoping and praying that they figure it out. As we're looking here at another good battle here for, I believe this is 10th place. We have Jeff Price, Tesoro in the 30. Just it never seems to fail, Mitchell. We talked about this battle for 10th place, and right here going to towards the checker flag, they're still trying to figure it out.
4 laps to go, and this is going to be the battle that separates whether you get another race in that top 10 column of your stats or not. That's something these drivers really going to want to fight for in the late stages, but Jeff Price holds a little bit of an advantage over Tesoro at the moment. We'll see if he can hold it. Tesoro been faster though. You see it there. A couple laps ago made up a whole half of a second. Made up time every lap except 2, make it 3 laps ago. We'll see this time by Jeff Price pulls away a little bit. Tesoro has a good run into turn 1 and 2. We'll see if he can hold it up. 2 laps to go. Time is going to be running out for the 30 to try and get around Jeff Price. But this one will be a good race all the way to the line.
Yeah, exciting battle here for 10th place. Jason Gracias looking to see that white flag out front. We'll see if these guys could sort it out for 10th. I don't think Jeff's going to give it up too easily. And Mitchell, I'll let you take it home because I believe we're coming to 1 to go. If these guys just cross the line here at 10th place, Jason Gracias should be coming to 1 to go.
Yep, Jason Gracias is out of turn 4 right now, coming to take the white flag here in the Bagcraft 200 and they are side by side for 10th place. We'll keep it here because this is a great battle. These drivers are on 2 laps to go at the moment. Keep in mind they still have 1 more lap after this to complete. Julian Tesoro fighting up the inside lane on Jeff Price. Price high up toward the wall, trying to get as much speed as he can. Tesoro gonna take the position as they come to 1 lap to go here. Jason Gracias, you see him there though, coming to the line to win the Bagcraft 200. Ton of speed from Jason Gracias all race long. Well-deserved win for that MaxGrafix machine. Meanwhile though, this battle for the 10th position continues. Jeff Price up the inside. Julian Tesoro trying to fight up the outside. Price, good run through the corner though. We'll see what kind of momentum the 30 machine has down the front straightaway. Doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Jeff Price will win the battle and finish in the 10th position, nudging Tesoro out of the top 10 on the very last lap. Great driving from Jeff Price there down to the line. What a race for all these drivers, and like we said, they kept fighting all race long. Down to the line, we had a battle to watch. Great stuff here from the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series drivers, as Jason Gracias going to burn it down with Tristan Maher too.
Yeah, teammates celebrating. I'm sure if Jason couldn't win, he'd certainly be happy with Tristan winning. So maybe he'll fail inspection, but I doubt that'll happen. But Jason Gracias getting very good at burnouts because all he does is win, 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 no matter what, as the kids say.
Yeah, Jason Gracias on a hot streak right now. Picks up the Bagcraft 200 win here. Great way to kickstart the season. Of course, we talk about drivers. Martin Plute wins Daytona. He started his season strong. First trip to 1.5 miles, which is so common here in oval racing. Jason Gracias going to keep the momentum going his direction. Martin Plute finished in the top 5, so he, like we said, going to keep the momentum going. Definitely been a strong start to the season there, but your top 3, Jason Gracias, Tristan Maher, and Chris Darling, we're going to get to talk to all of them here in just a couple moments here on 3 Wide TV, so stick with us while we get all those interviews lined up. But Garrett, like we said, race all the way to the line. This Bagcraft 200 did not disappoint at all.
What a tremendous job by everyone in the field, the league administrators. They put on a tremendous show. Green flag racing. What more can you ask for on a Friday night? We're done a fairly reasonable amount of time, and it's just a great job, everyone. This was a pleasure to broadcast, and I can't wait to hear from these top 3.
Yeah, we are going to get to hear from those top 3 drivers right now as we're going to dial up Chris Darling on the radio. Chris, you got a copy?
I got you, Mitchell.
Well, it's a strong run for you here tonight at Homestead, Miami. Great way to keep your season going, get some momentum going in your favor. You finished 3rd place both nights here this week, so definitely strong runs both days for that 11 machine. Take us through your race here and just what's made you so fast this week.
I'm not really sure. I kind of felt like a tick behind the top 2 both nights. I don't know why. Jason's always fast. I always feel like if I'm like right behind him, I'm all right. And I think I was running with him for most of the night tonight. And that last run, I don't know what I did different. I just burned my tires up and I didn't have anything for him.
Well, you definitely gave it your all here tonight. You were able to fend off Nick Kessler there in the closing laps. Like we talked about, strong run here for you. Up toward the front most of the race, but green flag all race long. How important was that tire management out there, and how big a role did fresh tires play here tonight?
It was huge. I mean, you're talking a few tenths just in the difference of maybe 2 or 3 laps of pitting. So, I mean, it was a big deal. Tires were definitely a premium, but it just came down to, well, I don't want to say it came down to who could save the tires the best, but because you know, those top 2 guys are always really fast, but it was definitely a race of attrition, I think, on the tires. I don't know. I saw Nick coming near the end of the race, and I think I might have overdone it when I saw him coming. I didn't know. I couldn't see when he pit or what was going on with him. I just knew he was making up about 3-4 tenths a lap, and it's kind of worrying me, and I I think when I did that, I almost pretty much did myself in because I about hit the wall a few times.
Well, you were able to fend him off, get the podium, a good way to kick your season into gear after Daytona. I know you weren't completely happy with the way that race went, but next week we're going short track racing here, going to Rockingham. What are your thoughts about that track?
I think I said it last night. That's one of my favorite tracks, so I'm pretty excited. Again, it's going to be a lot about saving tires and who can be the most consistent while still saving tires. So I don't know. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, we can finish near the front again and stay out of trouble for most of the night. I was pretty disappointed last week, but this definitely turns around the season a little bit and gets it going for me.
Well, definitely a good turnaround race here, strong run at Homestead. But before we let you go, do you have any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Jason and Tristan. They were fast all night. Nick Kevler, he was fast. I think we all pretty much raced around each other all night. Everybody raced clean. It was fun. Give a huge shout out to Taz Racing Customs, Stay Tuned Sports, all the sponsors, Bagcraft Cornhole. I know they came on to sponsor the race tonight. Uh, Everybody who helps make the league go, Beer Street Journal. I'm drawing blanks right now. I'm sorry if I missed anybody. You guys up in the booth do a fantastic job. Definitely started the season off in a great way with the broadcast, so I appreciate that. And I'm a little upset I didn't get to see the Zor's truck tonight, but I think I can live with that since I get to hear Garrett's beautiful voice in the booth.
Well, I hope to be able to race with you next week, pal. I was proud of you there with your third place. I thought you had something for them on the long run, but we'll see you in victory lane next week at Rockingham, I'm sure.
Maybe, man. I hope so.
Well, thank you for stopping by with us, Chris. And again, we hope to see you next week at Rockingham. Maybe we'll get to talk to you again.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, guys.
All right, that was Chris Darling, your third place finisher here tonight at Homestead. But I believe Garrett Gleason's caught up with Tristan Maher.
Hey, Thuggy, I was rooting for you out there, bud. I did happen to call you a choke artist during the broadcast, so when you watch it back, don't watch it back with your family. But second place tonight, tell us a little bit about your night, and did you think you had something for that number one?
Ooh, choke artist, that hurts. That hurts. It really gets me. But if you guys don't mind, let me ask, what even was that about? I'm not even.
I was just talking how you never seem to win a race. Like you were at the Roval, I had like $50 on you to win, to maybe pay like $2,000 back because the odds were so high, and you just blew it. So I was just talking about that. And no surprise to see you coming up a little short again tonight. But did you have anything for the number one?
I think I did. We were very similar in pace. Basically what the race came down to at that point was dirty air. I think that I was trying to run a different line than Jason, just to try to stay out of the dirty air, and it was working for a little while. But running that line, I think I was using my tires a little bit more. And then, yeah, basically, it basically came down to the second pit stop. I needed to get out in front of him coming off of that pit stop, and then I think that it might have been a little bit better race to the end. But once he got out in front of me, I just couldn't pull back, couldn't get back up to him.
So you talked about the second pit stop. Let's just go back to the first pit stop. You stopped early on, I believe it was about lap 40. Jason didn't come in until about lap 45. You were able to lead that entire stint after you made that short pit stop. We weren't sure if you were going to be able to make it on fuel and the two-stop strategy. How did you work out that in your head? Was it always the plan to come in early?
So I did not plan on. I thought maybe trying to do a 3-stop race. Me and Jason were obviously teammates, and we were talking about it the whole time. So during the first stint, I fell back to 4th, and it was Jason, Chris, Nick Hessler, and then me. And at that point, I was kind of like, I got nothing to lose. I'm not faster. Like, I won't be able to get up to those guys without burning my stuff up. So when Nick said he was going to pit, I was like, screw it. I'm going to pit with him, see what happens. And it did ended up working out. I think I pulled a 12-second gap on Jason after the pit cycle completed. But yeah, that was the problem, was the fuel. Me and Jason both had about 5 laps of fuel left at the end of the race. So if I was gonna pit earlier than him, I would have only been able to do it by about 4 or 5 laps, I think. So it wouldn't have been as big as the first stint gap.
Well, an impressive run from the 17 tonight. You led a lot of laps. Certainly nothing to be ashamed of. We're headed to Rockingham next week. Your thoughts on Rockingham? Do you run well there? Have you run well there? Maybe you could put into victory lane for once.
I'm actually super excited about Rockingham. I do enjoy the track. I don't seem to have good luck there. But yeah, it's a super fun track, super difficult. Takes a lot of talent, which I might be lacking. But we'll see what happens.
Hey, you keep hanging around with that Jason Gracias guy long enough, some of that talent's going to rub off on you. But before we let you go, obviously, congratulations on second place. If you have any sponsors or shoutouts, you're more than welcome to make them.
Yeah, obviously, this league, NSRA, it's a fantastic league. If anybody's interested, look them up on Facebook, Discord. Got to shout out the Eclipse Photography Ford F-150 here. It's a beautiful truck painted by none other than MaxGrafix. And then TNR too. I'm gonna shout it out because we had a TNR 1 and 2, Total Nonstop Racing 1 and 2. So that's gonna do it. And you guys, of course, up in the booth.
Well, thanks, Sluggy, for all that. And like I said, congratulations on second place. Hopefully, you could do one spot better next week. And go celebrate in victory lane with your teammate, who I believe Mitchell Adams is working his way down to catch up with now.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I'm running down. To victory lane, trying to catch up with him. There's a ton of people down here, but I finally got his attention. Jason Gracias, Mitchell Adams from 3 Wide TV. Man, what a race you had here tonight. Ton of speed in that one. Take us through it.
Yeah, no doubt. This number one MaxGrafix, BagcraftCornhole.com. Toyota Tundra was on rails tonight. I couldn't ask for a better truck prepared by the TNR boys. I'm just lucky enough to sit behind it and hold a pretty wheel.
Well, you definitely held the wheel good tonight. Ran away with it late in the race. We saw some mixed strategy calls coming from your teammate Tristan, a couple others, but yours ended up working out the best for you. Take us through what you were thinking about whether to pit earlier or later when those green flag pit stops rolled around.
I'm a fan of less pit stops is better, just because if you try to do the 3-stop or more stop strategy, you never know when cautions are going to bite you. So I tried to run it as dry as I could, and then when the window opened up for the end and I could make it on fuel, after I saw what Thuggy did, and was able to hold me off on his much older tires than mine, I decided to stop early and just when I could make it to the end, and hopefully I got in front of Chris and Thuggy, and I was able to hold off for the win. Dirty Air was surprisingly super terrible tonight. If you were stuck behind a truck's wake, you were either getting super tight or super loose. So if you had clean air was king all night long.
Yeah, well, we saw you with plenty of that clean air all night long, but next week going to be a bit of a different story than the 1.5 miles at Homestead, because it is Rockingham, the short track, full of bumps and always great racing. Take us through, well, how do you feel about Rockingham from your experience there before? I know you've run there.
I've never seen Rockingham in a truck. I've always seen it in an ARCA car and an Xfinity car, but I like Rockingham. Rockingham is a track that probably suits my driving style. It races like a Richmond or an Iowa. So if you know, you know. But if you know how to get around those tracks, you'll know how to get around Rockingham. So that's one of my. I think I should be able to do well there. I know Chris is quick at Richmond, quick at Iowa, and he actually won at Rockingham in the TNR series. So I wouldn't put my money on. If I was a betting man, I'd put my money on Chris, not myself, for next week.
Well, we'll wish you the best of luck going into next week, trying to pick up 2 wins in a row. But I'll give you a second just to shout out all those sponsors and people who help you get into victory lane.
Yeah, just thanks to NSRA for the league, the platform to race here on Friday nights. Thanks to Jim and Stay Tuned Sports Podcast for coming on board as a title and presenting sponsor. If you guys want to listen to some sports podcasts to get you through your day, check them out on Podbean or any of the major podcast platforms. Thanks to Stan Hausmann and all the sponsorship he brings in, Beer Street Journal, Brookstone Animal Hospital. Thanks to Bagcraft Usually they're on my truck this week. We had a different look this week where we had MaxGrafix on the hood, so shout out to MaxGrafix as well. If you guys need any sort of paint scheme, need design, logo, what have you, hit up Chris Darling over at MaxGrafix. Quality work, quality price. If you want it done right, go see Chris. You'll get it done right the first time. Thanks to TV for the broadcast as always. I'll have to show my wife later tonight, show her that I'm a winner, not a loser. And last but not least, thanks to all the TNR guys. We had a TNR 1-2. Me, Thuggy 1-2. We had Philip, Vinny, everybody that's in the TNR chat, Jason Shu, Josh Schobel. We all work together as a team. We may not be the fastest in practice, but we'll try to work together to get us there. And last but not least, this win is dedicated to Vincent Valvano. He's been going through a rough patch the last couple weeks. So, Vinny, this one's for you. I'm happy you're back, and hope you had fun tonight.
Yeah, well, thank you for taking time to stop by and talk with us. Jason, again, congratulations on the great win. We look forward to seeing you try and do it again next week.
Yeah, guys. Thanks as always, and everyone have a good night.
All right, that'll do it with our post-race interviews here on 3Y TV. Those were your top 3 finishers here tonight in the Bagcraft 200 at Homestead Miami Speedway. We'll take you through your finishing order here tonight before we get too far into anything else. And unfortunately, we are going to be unable to bring that up on the screen here because of some technical bugaboos, but it was Jason Gracias picking up the race win here tonight. Tristan Maurer finished in second, Chris Darling third. We talked with all of them. Then it was Nick Kessler in the number 88 finishing fourth, Martin Plute fifth, Jeffrey Clifton finished sixth, Philip Scott seventh, Justin White eighth, Stan Hausmann finished ninth, and Jeff Price rounded out your top 10.
Yeah, let's go back to Justin White real quick. He was our Simbox biggest mover of the race. Good move, up 13 spots. 11th, had a good battle for 10th there at the end. Tesoro in the 30. Nathan Maurer comes home in 12th. Matt Cherry in 13th. Adam Newton 14th. Stephen McDonald in 15th. Vincent Valvano, I'm sure he wished to do a little better, but it was great having him back in 16th. Ben Mashburn dusted off the track for everyone else, comes home in 17th. Dalton Hayes didn't get wrecked by me this week, comes home in 18th. David Buell comes home in 19th, and Doug Neal rounds out your top 20.
Adam Lichty was in the 21st position. Mikey Williams, 22nd. Doug Milliner, 23rd. Gerald Baker finished 24th. Patrick Morrison, 25th. Jimbo Casterline, Mr. Stay Tuned Sports, finishes 26th position. Gained 9 spots on the night. Not a bad run at all for Jimbo. Garrett Austin finishes 27th. Josh Sobel, 28th. Travis White, 29th. Randy Purdue finished 30th. And then rounding out your field were Jason Shu in 31st, Jeremy Richmond 32nd, Adam Dama finished 33rd, and Joseph Misch rounded out the 34 trucks who started in tonight's race. And Garrett, what a race we saw here tonight. Great racing all the way to the line. There was always a battle going on here in the Bagcraft 200. So what a race we saw. Again, Rockingham shouldn't disappoint next week either.
No, Rockingham's going to be fun. And if you're Chris Darling, you're Justin White, you're the administrators here at NSRA, what a show you've put on the last 2 days. You guys can sleep well tonight. Your league is in great hands. You're doing a tremendous job. And I'm looking forward to Rockingham. And I'm also looking forward to Peter Short getting those golden vocal cords back on the air and doing this for our viewers next week.
Yeah, we hope Peter can get back in the booth next week. Would definitely be good. Again, same time next Friday night here on 3Y TV. will be the NSRA race at Rockingham Speedway. But again, we have to thank all the sponsors who make this possible. Of course, Bagcraft sponsoring the series, or the league, or not, third time's the charm, sponsoring the race tonight, the Bagcraft 200. And of course, the series sponsor, Stay Tuned Sports, MaxGrafix, Brookstone Animal Hospital. I don't believe we got to give away one of those Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Awards tonight because the caution was on lap 1. Nobody had gone a lap down yet. So thank you to them. Of course, Beer Street Journal, Taz Racing Customs, Eclipse Photography, Simbox, and JNR Craftworks. All of them linked down in the video description if you want to go check out all the people who make this series possible. But for all of us at TV, our producer tonight, Peter Short, who hopefully will be back broadcasting in The Voice next week, myself, Mitchell Adams, and Garrett Gleason, I want to thank you all for tuning in tonight. Hope you'll join us again next week. And until then, stay safe, have fun, and we will see you next week.